The wind gods were noticeable only by their absence from the Solent this weekend. Britannia Events were running the inaugural Eurosaf Beneteau 40.7 European Championship this weekend with a fleet of 13 boats. On Saturday, the race committee aboard Condor set a course near the North Shore, and the first race got underway with not all the fleet making it to the line on time. The first beat saw enough wind to keep the boats moving respectably, with the right side of the beach showing the advantage. At the windward mark it was Porsche which led the fleet. They hoisted their kite at the spreader mark and set off down the run, seemingly in control. But that was to be an illusion, as the wind died and shifted to the north. On the run, Addiction took the north side of the track and pulled through into the lead. The wind shift had turned the next beat into a fetch, and the race committee signalled a shortened course at the windward mark. Challenger took the race win, with Tarka overtaking Playing Around and Addiction just before the line to take second, with Playing Around in third. Challenger also took the second race, ahead of Addiction and Tarka. On Sunday, a further 3 races were planned, but the weather had other ideas. The first race of the day got underway with a Z flag flying, and 2 boats picked up a 20% penalty as they were caught over the line in the final minute. Most of the fleet fought for the pin end, but slowed themselves down in the crush at the buoy. Mystery and Blueprint chose the committee boat end in clear air and hit the line with speed. The wind was a very light northerly, which was fluky and patchy across the course, and soon after the start there was a large right-hand shift, coupled with more pressure on the right. Tarka came out of this well, while the boats on the left looked to be dead and buried. In the final part of the beat though, as the leaders approached the windward shore, the wind shifted back to the left, and Addiction came out of the left side to round the windward mark first with a decent lead. They headed to the spreader mark and hoisted their kite with good teamwork, helping to keep the boat moving quickly in these light airs. As the chasing pack rounded, many realised that the wind had shifted right again, and the boats started to jibe to port for the run to the leeward mark. Yet again, the wind was to make a mockery of the course, as it shifted right and then died to almost nothing. The fleet of 40.7s were left to hunt any pressure they could find. Although the leaders managed to finish the shortened course, the time limit ran out before the back half of the fleet could reach the finish, as the boat sat on their reflections on a glassy sea. Challenger again took the race win, ahead of Tarka and Addiction. Despite the conditions, the race committee managed to get another short race in, which was won by Playing Around, ahead of Addiction and Challenger. But the series belonged to Challenger, which won by a clear 5 points from Addiction and Tarka, whose tie was broken in favour of Addiction, with Tarka taking third. The Contessa 32s were racing in a class regatta run by the Royal Corinthian Yacht Club this weekend. 13 boats came to the line, with the first race getting underway in a very light northwesterly, and the start of the ebb pushing them up a beat. This was to be a very slow race, but would eventually be shortened. The regular hotshots on Blanco led around the first windward mark by a decent margin, but then their spinnaker went up without the sheet attached, and this let the chasing boats in with a chance of closing the gap. It was a very long, slow run against the building tide, and when they did eventually reach the leeward mark, Cosantes had closed the gap so that they rounded overlapped on the outside of Blanco. But Blanco held her rival at bay for the short beat to the finish line and took the winning gun by 16 seconds. Contessa Catherine took the third position in this first race. With the wind almost non-existent, there was a wait of over an hour before a second short race was run. Again it was Blanco which took the gun, 50 seconds ahead of Drumbeat, with Contessa Catherine again taking third. Sunday's only race got away in another very light breeze from the north. As the boats worked their way slowly up a beat, the breeze swung one way then the other and became very patchy. Eventually it died altogether, leaving the leaders anchored within yards of their windward mark, but unable to reach it against the building ebb tide. When the wind returned, it was Blanco which completed a clean sweep of all three races, to take the regatta ahead of Contessa Catherine in second and Cassantes in third. The Royal Yacht Squadron was due to run the 12th round of the Cowes Keelboat Solent series this weekend, but with the big tide running and no wind off Cowes, the racing was first postponed and then abandoned on both days, leaving the day boats sitting disconsolately on their moorings and the sailors in the pubs and club bars. We spotted an unusual sight off Cowes on Saturday, when this matching pair of idiosyncratic pocket cruisers appeared. If you can tell us more about them, please do drop us a line. That's it for this week from a near windless Solent. Join us next week for Far 45 racing for the Staples Trophy, Red Funnel's Cowes Keelboat Championship racing and Jogg's Cowes to Cherbourg race. See you then.